friends, you're listening to Cycles of Life podcast. Welcome. Today is another mini episode and I'm talking about how do I keep moving forward. I know it sounds a bit mysterious, but what I mean by that is that, as you might know, I do have a full-time job and I'm obviously running my business on the side as well, and it can be really hard. But actually, I've been really consistent for the last year and a bit now, so I want to talk about it. What actually helps me to stay motivated? How do I keep getting things done? So I've been very consistent with my podcast, my blog, my social media presence as well, and that really helps me to grow and keep moving forward. So let's talk about it. So what is the probably number one most important thing here? It's actually having a big plan. Having that end goal, knowing why you're heading, where you're heading, what you want to achieve. And also understanding it might change and it will change, but it's important to have that direction, to understand where you're going. Really understanding why it matters to me as well. So for me, for example, I want to have more freedom in my life. I want to be my own boss. I want to work on things that I personally find interesting. So that's what keeps me going. And also it really helps to discuss this big plan with your partner, your family, because it helps to keep everyone aligned. You're all kind of aiming in the same direction. I find that is really helpful as well. So once you have that big plan, obviously break it down in mapping ways how you're going to get there. So your big plan might be your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, whatever that looks like. So break it down. Where do you want to be in 3 years' time, in a year's time, in a month's time, etc. So break it down and kind of map the way so you understand what you need to do to get to that end goal as well. Another thing that I find really important is listening to my intuition and doing things that I find interesting, because there's so many different things that I think about, maybe I should do that, maybe I should do that. But actually, I'm really trying to listen to myself and only do things that I respond to, that my intuition says yes, that have that really good gut feel about it. So things, for example, I've been blogging for, almost 5 years. Can you imagine? I've been writing blogs, so I feel much more comfortable about that now as well. I actually have an Etsy shop. I don't know if anyone knows. I'm not as active on it anymore, but it definitely really helped me to kind of open up my creativity a few years ago. And of course, I've started a podcast last year as well, doing interviews, something that is quite scary, and I thought it was quite scary, but actually gently pushing myself through that. And all of these things is something that my intuition kept telling me that yes, go for it. You should try. And actually coaching is another one as well. I just felt kind of drawn to that. I've always been interested in psychology since I literally can remember myself, since I understood what psychology was. I used to go the extra psychology class in my school, read self-development books. I've been reading them since I was a teenager. So it's something that has always really interested me. So now, of course, I'm trying to be even better. So I've done a lot of coaching courses in the past, but now I'm studying for level 5 in coaching. Just really try to push myself even further as well. Another thing as well that really helps me to keep moving forward is trying new things a lot. And there's a few points that I really want to talk about, because it helps you to keep growing, to try new things, obviously different things as well, because how else can you know if that is for you if you don't try it? Go and try it. And also not being afraid of failing or stopping something, because just because you've started something doesn't mean that you have to keep going for the next 5 years. Absolutely no. You can try, you can see actually, that's not for me. But I'm glad I've tried, now I know. For example, Etsy shop was something like that. So I've started it about 7 years ago now, I think. So I've opened my Etsy shop. I loved it. It brought me a lot of joy. But I also realised that it's not something that I want to do as a full-time job ever. I like to create for myself as a hobby rather than trying to monetize that. So that was a big lesson that I needed to learn. But I would have never learned that until I've opened an Etsy shop and put myself out there. And also being mindful about perfectionism. And again, I know it's an old mantra, but done is so much better than perfect. I have to remind myself this a lot as well. And actually, all of these things just really help me to push myself to do scary but small things, to expand my comfort zone, because that's how we grow. You don't have to do dramatic jumps or doing something that is just petrifying to you, you can actually take small little steps, and in 6 months' time you will look back and realise how much you have actually achieved and how much you have actually changed. All of that will help you as well. And of course, that is constantly learning as well, finding out new information, listening to different people, seeing what people say, trying to learn different perspective, because all of that really helps to expand our view on life as well. And finally, what I just want to talk about is just how important it is to reflect and work through my personal blocks as well. So I know I talk about self-limiting beliefs quite often. One of mine that comes up quite a lot is, who am I to do this? So actually really working through it and understanding that I am worthy, I know what I'm talking about, this is helpful to people. So again, this is a huge self-limiting belief that I'm working through. You will have your own, but it's important to know them, to know what they are so you can do something about it. Another interesting thing that I'm just starting to learn about now, it's called the upper limit problem. So it's a very good book that is called The Big Leap. So it's almost being scared when things get good. And I think that is a fascinating subject. So you almost sabotage yourself when you achieve something because you just don't know how to deal with that success. So it's a huge topic. I will not go into much more detail than that today, but I do find it really interesting. So if there's something that sparks interest in you, I would recommend doing a bit of research. So yeah, you can search for the book that is called The Big Leap, and it's called Upper Limit Problem as well. And finally, the classic comparison. So be mindful of that. Because remember, we all have our own little way. We all have our own little path. We cannot just simply follow each other. We can learn from each other. Absolutely. We can share experiences, 100%. But also, do not compare yourself to others. And I know it's easier said than done. But catch yourself when you do that. Be mindful about it. And also, unfollow where needed. And just remind yourself that everyone is on their own path. So if this sounded interesting to you and you want to learn more, I am actually running a little workshop on the 14th of June at 10 a.m. in British Summer Time. It's completely free, and I will talk about more about how to be more productive, how to organise your time better, and we'll talk about some of the limiting beliefs as well that stop us from achieving things that actually really truly matter to us. So if that sounds good to you, please sign up. It's completely free, as I said, and I will send you a replay within 24 hours after the workshop. So if you can attend, that is absolutely fine. I will send you the replay as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Have a great day. Bye.